Hey guys, how's it going? I'm Joey from Lock Props, and today I'm going to be showing you how to make Batman's Foldable Batarang. Now, I consider this a beginner-friendly project, so if you need any of the tools, materials, or the free template for this build, the links are going to be down below to get you started. Without further ado, let's get building.
First, we start off by printing out all the files of the template. I cut out all of these with the X-Acto blade on cardstock. I'll piece together all the parts with tape and start with the middle piece. I traced out two pieces onto 4mm EVA foam and then cut them out. I traced two more of the middle pieces on 2mm EVA foam. Now we have 4 circles in total, 2 4mm and 2 2mm. I took the template and traced around the bat using my X-Acto blade, and then cut it out. I placed the template back onto the 2mm piece and taped it down. I grabbed my X-Acto blade again and began cutting out the bat piece. I like that the cardstock stops the blade from going too far. After both sides have had the bat cut out, we cut out the outer circle of the template and trace the circle. For the next part, I just score the surface of the foam, making sure not to go all the way through, because when we use our heat gun, it will open up the lines and give us more visible detail. I collected the pieces that I had and used barge cement on all 4 pieces. Once semi-dry, I put the 2mm piece on top of the 4mm piece, and this gives a great recessed look for the bat. The next part, I used my Dremel to sand down the sides to make them even. You could use sandpaper if you don't have a rotary tool. Then I got the circle with the layout of the dowels and the magnets and began cutting the circles out of the cardstock. But I need to find the middle of the circle, so I guessed where the middle is for the circle by looking at the bat and making a line on each side, going down the sides and to the back. I then lined up the side and looked at the line of my cutting mat to line up the middle, and then set it down and drew the line. I put the template on the foam where the dowel part should be where we put our line. Also, I marked where the magnets will go. Next, I grabbed the wings. I traced and cut out 2 pieces out of 10mm EVA foam. I make sure to also mark where the holes, dowels, and the magnets are going to go. The long sides I use my box cutter, but I recommend to use the X-Acto blade for the more curvy parts. I next got a copper pipe from Home Depot about 10mm in diameter, or 0.4 of an inch, and cut out the circles we made out of the foam. I needed to make the holes for the dowels a little bigger, so I got the stone sanding bit and began opening up the hole where the dowel will go. You could use a wooden dowel PVC, but I happen to have a 10mm foam dowel and just use that. I swapped to this tapered stone bit and began taking off the edges of the inner circles and the wings. I just had to do the 2 outer circles. Going back to the wing template, we cut out where the blade is going to be and take that piece and trace that section out. We need to trace it out on each side and each wing. Picking up the Dremel, I grabbed my sanding drum and began sanding down the edges. Once I got down to the point where I wanted to start smoothing it out, I swapped the drum out with a higher grit drum and began smoothing out the foam again. Then I finished with some 1200 grit sandpaper and smoothed out the blade even more. We also need to make the recessed area for the magnets to go on the wings. So I took my sanding bit on my Dremel and made a notch where the magnets will go. But we don't want to put the magnets in just yet. We need to plastic dip the outside first and don't want the magnets to be covered. Once the plastic dip was dry, I got some Tamiya 6mm detail tape and began tracing the blade section on the wings. Once both sides and wings have been taped, I used frog tape to cover and mask the rest of the wings. Once that was done, I got Montana Silver chrome spray and some wire to hang the wings and did 1 even coat. Once it was completely dry, I took off the masking tape. I got the thin stone bit again and removed enough material for the magnets. I grabbed these small magnets from Amazon. I put a dab of super glue into the recessed area and then placed the magnets into the foam. Make sure that the magnets are facing in the same direction. Don't want the wings to repel the magnets if it's in the wrong orientation. I needed to put the magnets in on the wings. Just like before, I used super glue to hold them in place. I put the wings on the dowels to see if the magnets still worked. They clicked into place, so we are good to go. However, we need to put pieces of foam at the top and bottom of the inside of the middle circle to keep the wings from fully extending too far and only allowing the wings to go where the magnets are. I super glued the other middle piece and did a test. The last thing we need to do is add some battle damage. I put some silver leaf rub and buff on a cardboard and grabbed my chip brush and began loading the brush with the paint. Then I tried to wipe off as much as I could. With the brush, I tried to just lightly get the surface with the edges of the brush. I only do it in areas and places where I think most of the cuts or dings would be. Now it looks like it's been used and ready to go.
I really like with how this turned out, but it's not going to be stopping any crime, but it is going to be con safe. If you guys ended up creating this, I'd love to see your guys' finished products, so be sure to tag me in any of your social media posts. I'd love to see it. But for the next video, I'm going to be hopping into another Heroes prop, and that is going to be Daredevil's Billy Club. And once that video posts, I'm going to go ahead and post it right here for you so that you can click on it now.